Hello and welcome back to Heroes of the Mist. I'm your host and game master, Hawk Robinson, here with RPG Research, and we are continuing the intrepid saga of these ragtag fugitive fleet of adventurers. And when we stopped for the break, Farhad, Glarian, had decided to punch basically a brontosaurus in the eyeball.
That's always a good idea.
Go ahead and roll that dice roll.
I don't have animal handling skills.
Yeah.
This justifies the punch.
Go ahead and
So,
roll.
animal manhandling.
Let's see that roll.
I think it's worse if he actually rolls well in this, because if he rolls bad enough, he just kind of like pats it gently on
What is that?
I can't. It's a 6. It's
Okay.
a 6.
So, giant head, bigger than him in front of him. He misses the eyeball and punches it in the jaw, which just makes kind of a little sound. And it takes a second, then 2 seconds, and then it goes flinch. Just a little bit of a flinch on the flesh there where you punched it. And it then opens its mouth towards you and goes right at you with all this humid moisture blowing on you and little bits of, for it little, but for you, large gobbets of saliva and everything else just spraying all over you. So within a second, you are soaked head to toe in this goo. It then drops down next to you, grabs a mouthful of firewood, and pulls quickly back into the woods. Now, before it pulls back, you can do something if you want to, but it's grabbing the firewood and starting to back away with a mouthful of firewood.
Well,
what do you do covered in your slime?
Jump on it and ride it and have a dinosaur friend.
All right.
But I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
Because, we only have so much time before we can get to the Druid lands.
Ah.
Tag it so you can find it again later.
So what do you do? Just stand there drifting? You've basically been slimed.
Oh, I don't start throwing up, but I do start like shuddering and like dry heaving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It then pulls away with a mouthful of firewood, starts chewing on it a little bit as it backs away, and backs into the woods with a little, really making a lot less noise than you would expect a creature of that size to be making, backing into these dense woods.
How is it that these woods survive beyond like a year or two of all of this just going on in it? It makes no sense.
Because they're mutant trees, too.
The trees just dodge.
Check their decks.
There's usually not that many travelers on the road to attract them. So
Well, not to mention,
they can smell you.
do you have any idea how fast the jungle grows back in?
No, I don't.
Oh,
Quite
fast.
rapid,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, like the Mayan pyramids and stuff. They have to go in and completely uncover them every year for tourist season because
At the Packer, at the mine I grew up, every spring we have to hack away trees and stuff to get access to the cabins and stuff. The branches just quickly grow.
Wow.
So, yeah, you'd be surprised how vibrant nature can be when it's left in the wild there. All right. So, slimed Farhad, shuddering.
River, like, slowly moves over to Firehawk.
Okay, so River comes up to you. Did Joe freeze? Did we lose his? Nope,
Oh,
okay.
no.
I'm here.
Okay. She's like, are you okay?
I could use a bath.
You
and some
could.
disinfectant.
There's a well over there, isn't there?
There is a small well, yes.
Yeah, full on
Don't poison the valve.
bucket and rope. You said.
Yep, in good condition, actually.
I'm going to clean everything.
Okay.
You don't have to watch.
No, I don't want to watch.
So
That's
maybe
why I said you don't have to.
maybe you do the watch on the roadside.
Yeah, River goes.
Your back to-
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, quite the smell of bile. Most unpleasant.
As soon as I get to the well, I start undressing very slowly.
We don't have time for that.
don't know how long we've been talking. How much time do we have till everybody's had their 2 hours?
You've got plenty of time for that. So.
Oh, yeah. That's very nice. Every piece of clothing, like put it on the edge of the well.
Okay.
Draw out some water.
Okay.
Wash myself first. Then wash my clothes.
Okay.
Wash everything.
All right.
Man, it must be cold.
It's very cold, but
Have you taken your boots off yet?
Take it all off.
That's what
I'll
elf
leave
feet
my hat
look
on.
like.
Oh, they look like human feet.
He said they were elf.
Maybe they're the same.
so they go back near the fire and are commenting on your various body parts in whole as you're naked there. They're pointing and commenting.
Oh, he has a tail.
Great.
No, he doesn't have a tail.
It's on the wrong side.
All right, good point. They do have anatomy as well. We're not going into that
Well,
because
we
it's
don't
a
know.
children's
We don't know what their
show.
anatomy is
Yeah,
either.
that's right.
I imagine their anatomy is just as varied.
Yes.
Literally. It's
So-
right here.
That really puts a damper on reproduction, I imagine, in their tribe.
So anyway, you have finished cleansing yourself.
But he hasn't finished
Yeah, drop my
chewing.
clothes near the fire.
Okay. All right. So you come back to their fire or Moisha's fire.
To their fire.
Okay.
And I grab my heavy winter cloak off of Kevin
Okay.
to keep myself warm while my
Okay.
clothes dry.
All right.
Are you okay?
Well, I'm a little cold and a little disgusted, but having scrubbed all of that monster breath off me, I feel a lot better now.
Thought
In
he
fact,
was,
I haven't had a really good bath in a couple of days.
thought he was going to eat you.
I thought it might eat me as well, but luckily, my bravery protected all of us.
Oh, thank you.
Bravery.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Can you help us, please?
What do you need?
What's stopping her from leaving here? He said something. Drew's magic?
Oh, he says a lot of things, and I don't understand half of them.
Which isn't just him.
Yeah, no.
But
I don't know what would keep such respectable people as you from crossing one side to the other, but I do know that the forests are both dangerous on either side.
not so scary on West Side. Not so scary at all.
He says because I took your silk, I can't go crossed.
Well, the other things too.
That's not right.
I could be wrong. I just think it might be.
Could be. I don't
I
know.
Well,
don't know.
I do know something.
What? What?
I do know that there is a god called Cord.
You have a
He's the
god
only
named
god
Rob.
who actually does things. And if you worship Cord the way I and my friend does, then you will have the strength to do anything you want. Actual, real strength.
I could. Cord would let me cross?
Yes. With the believe in Cord, Cord will let you cross.
I believe in Cord! Ow, it hurts!
Oh, no, there's a ceremony, and it takes some time for the strength of Cord to fill you.
What we do?
Perhaps that's doing the initiation ritual.
So you're gonna run in a bucket to fill it with sweat?
The sweat wasn't necessary.
I
You
know.
said
He's
that.
going to bring out his clothes into the bucket from
Okay.
the well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Simulated
It'll have,
sweat.
some sweat essence in there.
Yeah.
Um,
Not required, but part of the ritual anyway.
Yeah. Helpful, yeah.
Hazing
And I'm sure
ritual.
I'll start doing like the morning routine he and Torin have been doing. Like,
Cord is a little
all right,
jock-like.
every morning.
Push-ups are hard. Wobble.
Yeah,
Wobble.
she has a tentacle and a gorilla arm.
Burpees, all of it.
Okay.
My claw doesn't bend like that, but I'll try.
So he's trying to do with a claw lobster hand on one and a human push-up, trying to do that.
At this point,
with
you would
great
notice
difficulty.
that
Okay.
hand, body, front.
Well, do they need to strip down? Do they have to take their robes off and get down to the loincloth thing?
No, I mean,
No.
Well, it's gonna be do
It's
exercise in
hard
robes.
to do in robes. Yeah, these are heavy, thick robes. So I guess they'll strip down to their normal underclothes.
Oh God.
Okay, groin and hips of a female horse, torso of an ant, like a Fomorian, centaur, chest, left leg of an insect, that's where you get the drones thing, and right leg is a panther. Don't panic. It's just one leg.
And Thrykimu has the right arm is human, left side is lobster. The entire torso area looks like a big gray speckled bull, and has the right leg of a kangaroo and the left leg of what looks like a hyena. So,
And getting
yeah.
these fursuits makes going to cost a fortune.
What's that?
Getting the fursuit makes that's going to cost a fortune.
So, and they start doing the workout as you direct them as best they can.
once I notice that they have their bodies are different,
Yeah.
or like the exercises I do don't look like maybe they're modifiable for them.
Yeah.
I start doing other exercises,
Okay.
like burpees and stuff like that.
That they can handle.
They have bodies. They know how to get down on the ground. They know how to get up on the ground.
Okay.
I'm not worried about the form, but just dedicate your energy to cord.
Yes,
The more
yes,
you
cord,
sweat,
cord.
the more cord will value you.
Did you say sweat?
Yes.
Oh,
I can't sweat.
your head, my arm.
Okay, I get a sweaty face.
The more you sweat, the more you pant, the more you have some sort of exothermic reaction.
Well, that's big words for Farhad.
Extra what the fuck? Wow. Is that Elvish?
I think it's about time for a song.
All right, so you take them through the ritual, and they are very vigorous about it. You are impressed, however, with Sussuribit. She actually not really having much trouble doing most of these. Like, you get the feeling she's very strong.
Wanna arm wrestle?
This is not part of the ritual, my friend.
Okay.
Keep doing this until you become tired, and then keep doing it a little bit longer.
So Thrykimu tires much earlier than Sussuribit.
What 80s song would be played over that montage?
Let's get physical! Physical!
Yeah, Sussuribit's able to do about 10 times the exercise of Thrykimu.
A dubstep version of that.
Yes.
So he tries, he does his best, but he's left in the dust.
Feel the burn. Keep trying.
He wants to set us on fire.
I don't think that's what he means.
All right, so you do that, then
That was amazing. That was a fantastic worshipping of Cord. Now, it is time for you to rest. When you wake up in the morning at the rising of the sun, you will be stronger than you were before. And if you do this every day in honor of Cord, you'll become stronger each day until one day you are strong enough to achieve any of your dreams.
We can get through to the west side.
How many days?
Anything you dream.
How many days?
It is only for Cord to say.
Don't give up. Stroke, 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 stroke. Okay, we will do that. Thank you.
Okay, I'm getting to see.
Oh.
He actually says stroke, stroke, stroke as he's stroking
Yes.
him.
Yes. Yes.
Like
Because
he's
it was in voice.
Don't judge me. Us.
like he's commanding his arm just in case it loses track of what it's doing.
Not again.
All right, so they go on over near the woods there. They've got a little tent and stuff set up there, and they go into the tent there. And before long, you hear very strange snoring of like 6 different voices. It seems like
Oh, snoring.
snoring.
I'm so glad
Good.
you said snoring.
Me too. I was.
I was expecting snogging.
Snoring of what seems like 6 different voices. All right, so what do you do, Fairhawk?
How much time left before?
They're going to be getting up very soon.
Then I'm gonna check to see if my clothes are dry and try to get dressed before.
Yeah, they're mostly a couple little wet spots here and there, for the most part dry.
Cool. Then I'll get dressed and start getting ready to go.
Okay. All right.
At least
then-
the exercise has kept you warm.
Yeah. All right, so you guys start to River, you and Moisha wake up the others.
Yep.
Okay.
No, get a
Now tell me.
Before we move on,
Yeah.
Hawk,
Yes.
are they converted?
They are officially converted. You can count them as your first 2, or third, I guess. No, because you were there when it happened, right? Torrin, you were converted under the other guy.
Yeah,
Right?
I was-
Okay.
yeah.
So these are your first 2 conversions for your character.
Cool.
So go ahead
Yeah.
and put a couple of chip marks there.
You've
And,
actually
they'll
just
be
been
quite loyal. They'll be quite dedicated.
You've actually just been promoted over Torin. You were at the same level.
Not yet. He's got to do a few more.
I haven't reached the threshold.
Yeah. Yeah, if they do enough of them, their bonuses increase.
Oh gosh, this one getting stronger is scary.
Yeah.
Oh, can you actually go, if your class allows, above, that percentile range above the 18 from core tower? You're like a human of the fighter subclasses, and you could have that level of strength. Could you do that?
You can do 1 point above. So if it was 18 double out was your maximum, you could be 19, but not above that.
No, I'm saying if, let's say I'm nowhere near 18, if I manage to convert the 50
Yeah.
and get to 18, do you start accumulating the percentiles as well? Through
Only for your fighter class does that.
Only
work
a
that
fighter
way.
class.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. So you guys get up in the wee hours. You can hear what sounds like 6 different creatures snoring in the tent over in the middle there. You don't see the 2 strange people. What do you do?
I get up, make sure I haven't been murdered in my sleep,
Yep. As far as you know, unless you're dreaming.
and pretty much get up
To
and
sleep,
look around.
perchance to dream.
Yep. Torrin's clothes look freshly washed and a little damp.
Oh, you mean
Or sorry,
Farhad?
Farhad's, yeah. Torrin notices that Farhad's.
Hey, where did the strange folk go? In direction of Farhad.
They went to sleep.
Oh,
They're in their tent.
you know,
And I converted them to the Church of Cord.
you did? Alright! Bro high five,
Chest bump.
man grunts, hey! Wait, do I gotta do my workouts now, or is it still the same day? What day is it?
Good question.
Well, I've already done my workout, but if you'd like to work out again, we can do that now.
I mean, I feel I ought to just because I don't want to miss it.
So, what did the brew do exactly?
1 hour of sleep is equal to 4 hours of sleep. I've had my 8 hours of rest in a 2-hour period.
And it is highly addictive.
Okay. So, roll your Constitution stat.
Constitution stat. Okay.
By the way, thanks for mentioning that after we all took it.
Okay then. Rolling under con. Here we go. Natural 20.
Good. Okay.
No, not good. I'm under.
Moisha,
Good for him.
Why am I rolling?
you're rolling your con.
She didn't.
I didn't take
Oh, you didn't
cheat.
change. Sorry. Talk. No. Yeah.
It's Talk and Karn
Talking card. Okay. Yeah.
are the other
Sorry.
last ones.
Sorry for misplacing this.
I'm rolling which one?
Constitution.
Constitution. Okay, I got 11 under Constitution of 16.
Okay.
Or no. It should be that's my dex. 11 over Constitution of 8.
Okay. Karn has a little bit easier time. Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's my
you'll be
second
fine for
lowest stat.
today. You'll be fine for today.
The first one's free.
Yeah. But then there will be withdrawal and such to deal with on the following day.
Hopefully it'll be
So
so close we can
it'll be a
time-
hard crash.
We can time lapse that.
Yeah.
No, now you're having a fight.
Well, if all goes well, you'll be at the Druid's Gate before that happens. So now,
Alright.
neither of your characters knows this. River doesn't, or who actually knows anything about that happening? Either of you actually know anything about that?
Of drug withdrawal?
Yeah,
Or,
this
or-
particular drug, knowing that it would have that.
well, they told us. They told us,
Oh,
everyone,
okay.
that
Oh,
it was
you-
highly addictive.
Okay. All right.
I guess I'm the only one who remembers that.
Fair enough.
It was just word
When was this?
when they gave it
First
to us.
gave it to us.
Who gave it to us?
The
Genera
North
and then
Wanderers.
Yeah, the North Wanderers
Oh,
built
okay,
at
I was
Kasarnik
gone
Village.
for that.
Okay.
For that, I was having a baby,
Right.
or my wife
Yeah,
was.
you were a little tied up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and we shouldn't
Yeah.
rely.
If you were having it, we would be hearing about it in the news.
No, you wouldn't. I'd keep that secret.
I don't think you
Although
could.
I've said it before. If I had the opportunity to bear a child as a man, I would, because the first man to bear a child will instantly know more about women than any other man in history. And that's like,
Good on
Valuable knowledge.
So, anyway. I guess it's about midnight now? By the
Yeah.
time you
Yeah.
finish breaking camp and working out and getting everything going.
Yeah.
All right. So, y'all saddle up. Same marching orders as before?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, so do we
that
What are you doing?
we get a point
works.
for
Yes, y'all get a point of rest, yep. What do you do for your light source there, Torin?
I have my little glow stick.
Okay, I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think pretty much I'm going to be mostly relying on the horses.
Yep.
No
Yep.
way.
Luckily, you're not in the front, so that you can just kind of tag along. All right, and you guys ride ahead, and you ride through the chilly night with all the sounds to your right, and you realize a number of creatures have opted to follow you. You can hear them crashing through the undergrowth and up in the trees, and jumping from tree to tree. You have creatures following along as you're trekking.
Do we feel any vibrations under the ground?
Nothing. Yeah, nothing like the big thing. Now, River and Moisha saw the big giant thing and what happened to Farhad, but nobody else did. I don't know if either of you wants to bring that up in conversation with anyone.
Nope.
No.
River does not.
Okay. All
No
right.
need.
That's not.
I think they're busy trying to repress that memory.
Okay. Farhad.
You were sleeping. I did a very heroic thing. There was a monster, 1,000 feet high, who put his head over the camp. I punched him in the face, and he ran away like a child who had been abused by someone. That's very heartbreaking. I now have more empathy for that beast than I ever had before.
Power cord, eh?
Don't strike beasts if you don't have to. Torin, you should teach me how to handle it.
Oh, it ain't too much. You just gotta talk nice to them, give them food. Don't hit them, that's one thing. Unless they bite you, then you just.
I think you really should have taken your sleep. You seem Farhad. You seem a little bit. The lack of rest may have gotten to your head. You're seeing things. We've all been
Have you ever
there.
seen the spider the size of a man that also has the pelvis of a horse and the tail of an octopus? Because I have.
I was with those fellas. I mean,
Oh, there was one other thing on her. Her backside had the back end of a wasp stinger.
I was hidden.
No, not when working out. That was it would be
not.
twitching like crazy
Okay.
during the workout. So, yeah, that was one of the detail I forgot to mention.
What kind of tail does an octopus have, anyway?
They have many tails. They live adventurous lives.
Yeah,
All right.
yes, and they tell those tales in their garden in the shade.
The moon breaks through some of the clouds. Again, very cold. Every now and then, little tendrils of snow have come down on and off, but it never quite commits. And in the breaks in the clouds, you see it's a very full moon, just very full. It feels very close and rich. So it lights the road quite well. You can actually put your glow stick away when it's poking between the clouds. When the clouds get thick, it gets really dark. And your eyes aren't adjusted, so you're more blind than you were
how
before.
are y'all
but-
seeing this? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, there's nothing to see. There's no light. What?
Yeah.
It's like,
So you continue on through the dark of the morning, and again, creatures following, but you seem to be keeping up a pace. They don't quite commit to leaping out at you. You feel like any moment something's gonna leap out at you. You for a while saw those 8 eyes that had come out, follow for a good mile before they stop. Yeah.
Yay! Fun.
so, at some point, so you think it's like the druid magic, like they some sort of monsters trying to get across, and like maybe the magic ain't working right, or maybe they're not really monsters from around here, or. 'Cause I think they should have just gone up and asked druid, like, hey, we want on the other side to help us get across, and I mean, you just asked, and obviously they helped out. 'Cause they didn't seem too bad. I mean, terrifying like a nightmare, but not too bad.
That is.
Oh yes, once you get over having night terrors for a week, you know, it's really a pleasant visit with them.
It's not our land. It's not our place to decide.
Yeah, I guess.
Besides, I didn't want to offend them, suggesting that they in fact might be one of the monsters that they're so afraid of. You know, that's just rude. Implying that some magic recognizes them as a monster.
See, I often wonder, how does magic know, like, anything it knows? Like, take my sling, for example. Like, Karn totally knew that as a weapon, even though it just looks like a bracelet, right? Because of the magic that was in that fortress. Like, how did it know it was a weapon? It's just a piece of string. It's not like it's sharp or nothing. I mean, and if that's the case, if I thought something was there, like, I'm going to just club someone down with this, like, big fancy goblet, does it think that's a weapon, too? Is it reading my mind?
You're the illusionist. You're the spellcaster, as are you. Although you
Oh,
have
River
entirely-
just is like, there's just too many questions from Torin to even think about answering one of them. So
We'll just go down a rabbit hole.
it's like, well, I could start answering this question, but he asked 20 more after I formulated an answer.
Yeah. Too much effort.
Yeah. So she's realized that it's just better just to let him talk as much as he wants.
Talk's response pretty much is something along the lines of, magic is.
But, I mean, like,
Magic does.
well, how do they figure out how to do the things with it? Like,
Except when it doesn't.
it's like, all right, so I gotta tell you, yeah, I got it right. He's like, I want to make this magic happen. He makes
Well,
that
no,
magic
that's not
happen.
magic, that's divine intervention. It's a little bit different.
It's what now?
Divine.
Well, how's it different? It's magic. Like, it makes
It's not,
something.
but it's not magic, really.
Case in point.
It's not. It's like if you build a building, if you're trained in how to build a building out of wood, and then someone tries to get you to build a building out of stone.
Yeah, mason, yeah.
But you don't know how to build a building out of stone.
Well, you put them on one top of the other, and you put the
you
boards between. What's so hard about that?
Point being,
The entire guild just glared at you.
carpenters haven't been trained as masons, and masons haven't been trained as carpenters. So
I think it gets what you're saying there.
So it doesn't. It just doesn't work. You'd have to actually learn how to do both if you wanted to try and do both. And I don't think anybody has time for that.
But ain't something the same like when they lay it out with the strings and their sticks and all that?
No, it's not.
Oh. It's confusing is what it is.
River doesn't even know what Torrent's talking about anymore. She doesn't know what the sticks and the strings are.
Pretty much being able to lay out a building is like
Yeah.
sticks to mark out. Yeah.
She thinks you're talking about magic and
One
she's
train is 100
confused.
yards ahead.
But you can't not hear Torrin speaking.
No, but he doesn't have to engage.
That's true. All right. The dark of the morning goes through, other than very tense with all the noises and eyeballs and such. Nothing untoward happens, and dawn slowly breaks.
It's an ambush, guys.
And at one point, you come to a slight rise. Again, 'cause you're in these foothills of the Dragon Spine. Clouds are kind of sporadic. Sometimes they're thick, sometimes they're thin, sometimes they're high, sometimes they're low. But you see to the north, far to the east side, above some of the trees, looks like the very top of a stone tower, and somewhere to the west, a stone tower. And it's still many miles away, but you can see them poking up out of the trees to the north, to the east, and to the west. And a number of trees between them of different kinds, because you've got a little bit of a vantage right now, and it's a little bit lower area. You can see some trees towering above those towers and above the rest of the trees around. There's a number of trees there that are twice the height of the trees you're in right now.
I think I'm closest to talking on. Bet you a copper, that's a druid tree right there.
Why?
Because they know.
Why would I bet that? That's a stupid thing to bet.
It's more just like, all right. So
That's not even fun. It's not even a game.
It's not so much that I expect you to bet. It's like I'm saying that it's such an obvious thing.
It's not
that's the joke season.
No. You see, if you want to gamble, you want to do something on like a race or a card game or something. Yeah, I really don't think you understand gambling. It's supposed to be fun.
I won myself 3 silver off of hitting stones with my sling at 20 paces. So
I'm going to interject because it's relevant to this. Nephestus says, I just imagine, because this is kind of what happened as you were going through the night, as Torrin starts asking all these rabbit hole questions, all the things that were following them slowly, knowingly, started falling farther and farther away. So you help drive all the creatures and Infernium away.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Put out of bounds, extra XP. Basically defeated the whole forest.
So that brings up an interesting thought I had. Having a new baby. It's like, how did we manage to get as far evolutionary as we have gotten with infants that scream quite so loud? You think that would draw? I was thinking you think
Mass
that would draw predators.
Yeah.
But then I thought, wait, my cats bolt whenever they're predators. They bolt. They have very good hearing. I think babies scream so loud to
It's
get
a
the parents
sonic weapon.
get the parents to stop, to want to take care of them and get them to stop because it hurts them.
There's a part of the brain that specifically responds it simulates the same response as pain receptors in the brain to a baby scream.
And I think maybe just the tone and piercing is hard enough to hurt most predators' strong ears, and so the saber-toothed tigers just bolted every time.
I don't know. I want to test your premise.
Take a baby.
It might be days, but and you have to repeat it. You have to have control groups and everything else. So
and then a dingo eats your baby, and
because there's no such thing as recording devices.
So you guys continue trekking along throughout the day, getting closer and closer, nervous about the time passing very quickly as you watch the sun, come over the mountains of the Dragon Spine and slowly traverse the sky. But you do see these towers and trees that from time to time you get a glimpse in the break in the trees. And when you think it's getting near sunset, you're about, you think you're only about half an hour from sunset, you notice a complete absence of the eastern creature noises on your right at all. No sight, no sound of them, just normal animal sounds.
Alright guys, anyone else really worried about this? Man, this ain't right. I mean,
no, it's been quiet. It's been getting quieter over there the whole time you've been talking. So I think we're just getting out of that area slowly.
But the Infernium is farther north. You do know that. This was not the Infernium. This was the southern edges of the Wildwoods, which within the Wildwoods to the north is the Infernium. So you do know that geographically, according to legend. But anyway, so it's about half hour before sunset.
Spur the horses.
You guys
Yeah,
go ahead
we
and
need to go
pick up the
faster.
horses a little more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Are
yeah.
you going to break up the group or try to stay together with your slowest horse?
Let's try to stay with the slowest horse.
Yeah.
Stay together as a group,
Yeah.
but goes, okay. So you're able to get into,
I would have spurred the horses sooner.
You didn't
but-
know how far it was.
Okay.
And you could kill the horses doing that for too long.
Okay.
Especially Leon.
Oh yeah, there's Leon.
Yeah, Leon, and your pony wouldn't be able to maintain that pace for too long either. So, but now it's getting down to the last minutes. So you guys ride a little faster than you have basically in a long time, and you come around a bend, and sure enough, up ahead you see on the road, about a mile away still, a huge gate and walls going off east and west up ahead of you, and the sun is just barely touching the top of the gatehouse, over the shadow of the tree line, just still lighting the top of the tree house. You can see some figures on the little figures on the gatehouse. Anybody do anything differently, or just keep riding at a high rate of speed at the armored gate? The gate does appear to be opened, but again, it looks like there are guards all along the top.
Talk might start pushing the pony a little bit harder than he should, figuring that they can give it a little bit of a. They can give it should get a good
It's just
rest.
a mile.
Yeah.
Should get a good rest and treatment on the other side.
You also notice the trees are trimmed back away from the walls a good 100 feet. As you get closer and see more details, you see that it kind of opens up like this, and then away from the walls, there's a big open 100-foot gap from the walls and the road to the tree lines on both sides. You were saying something?
Oh no, it was like, if anyone wants to break on the head, it's like, man, if y'all run on the head, I don't want to run Leon too hard. I don't want that one back up on him.
So you're gonna lag behind?
A little bit. It's like,
Okay.
this is a mile, we got this.
Okay.
Go on ahead.
All right.
They're going to close the gate whether we all get through or not. I've got a feeling.
Yeah.
Well, River kind of I don't know.
There's some ways till sunset. It's just touching the top of the gatehouse.
Jordan.
It's not that far. it's
Once we get
totally
inside, the druids will have everything we need to make Leon better.
Yes. I agree with Farhad. We need to push forward. We need to push.
Are you a follower of Cord, or are you the follower of weakness?
I'm a follower of Cord, but Leon's her. I mean,
Are you hefty?
that doesn't even make
Or
sense.
wimpy?
Is that gnome? That's not some sort of gnomish thing now?
It's Dragonborn, but that's besides the point.
Come on, buddy. Just hold it together a little
All right,
longer.
so you're getting closer. You see more figures gathering along in front of the gatehouse, and you see them looking like they're starting to close the gates.
Ah, come on!
Faster.
Someone just run up and tell we're coming.
Farhad whips Kevin like either a fury to go
Okay.
as fast as possible.
All right, sunlight is still on the tower, so it is not sunset yet. So, all right, so you ride even faster at them.
And Farhad starts singing, greetings from Cord, the greatest of gods. He's a strong man and he likes to have friends who does push-ups and does sit-ups and does other calisthenics. It's time for Cord. It's time for Cord. We are friends. We're joyful with strength.
As you get within about 300 feet, you see the gates slam shut, and you come riding on up.
You scared them.
Yeah.
So when you get up to about 100 feet, you hear from above, unnaturally loud, as though just like their sound was amplified. Somebody from above, "Stop where you are, or we'll shoot!"
I'm stopping here. This is where I stop. Stop. Before we go and cause problems,
Uh-oh,
we
it just
are
died.
friends. Everybody's joyful. Let's have friendship.
Must have just
Push
died.
us down.
Okay, so but do you actually stop your horse or keep approaching while saying that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not getting murdered by druids who are strange to me.
Okay, so you stop about 100 feet away, and you see there's about a dozen of them along the gate and the walls. The at the gatehouses, so the walls themselves are about 100 feet high. The gatehouse is 200 feet high. To put that in perspective, a football field is 300 feet. So 20 stories up is the gatehouse. You have never seen such a structure. You've seen mountains. You've never seen a structure that huge. And the gate, the actual gate, is about 100 feet high that they just closed. You know, when you were, yeah, they did. Probably mechanical assist of some kind.
The world's first skyscraper was only 10 stories tall. Just to give you guys
Yeah.
a hint.
So, there you are. You've stopped. Do you say anything? The others are still
You and
riding.
friends, we have come to join your revels for this time of the season.
Tell your forces behind you to cease their charge.
Oh, sure. Hey, guys, slow down.
Do you gesture so they can understand that? Because they can't hear you yet because you rode far enough ahead. All right.
It's cool. Slow down. Don't worry about it.
You see him gesturing. You guys slow down?
Yeah.
Slow down? You're happy to slow down, yeah. All right. So then you finally catch up to him. And so finally one of them was, "So what do you want?"
Well, honestly, we just want to be let in.
What's your business here in these dangerous parts?
What is your quest?
These parts aren't so dangerous. We totally survived. But we planned on traveling through. But before we do, we thought we would get to know you and learn about your culture. You have a fascinating history that anyone of any intellect would be happy to learn about.
What is your purpose coming through these parts?
Oh, I'll leave that to our negotiator, Sir Karn.
Another NPC. Thank you, Joe.
That's
for experience points for
You
me.
talk to
Hey, God, this is your chance to have some emotional courage.
He just looks at you
What?
confused. Does not seem to understand what you mean by that. He rides on up ahead. Hail! Greetings! We come as friends. So you say. But what brings you to this area? We're just traveling through, on our way to the north and east. That you don't want to do. There's war to the north, you know. Well, we can discuss that if we could come in. We know you have your festival coming, and we would love to be your honored guests. He's getting very awkward about this. And share in your festivities. Oh, well, why didn't you say so in the first place? Did you bring what you need for the festivities? Karn looks back at the rest of you.
Farhad shouts out, I brought clothes that I'm ready to get rid of.
Oh, that's the right attitude. What else did you bring for the feast?
What food do we have?
I have a cat's paw.
No, not meat. Didn't you bring any food from the south? Offerings to the gods of the nature.
I guess
Well-
we got some of the magic
Or at
weapons.
least toys for the fairies.
We can come up with toys for the fairies.
All right, then. Open the gates, then. Pretty soon you hear, like, winches and scuffling. And pretty soon these giant, massive, 100-foot-tall gates slowly open up. Fairly quietly. You can hear the mechanisms, but they actually open very quietly until they slam against the side. Come in, then. Come in, then. You won't need your weapons. So you come on in, and the gatehouse goes in about 50 feet, right? And it's this massive chamber. And on the other side, there's about half a dozen druids there with spears and crossbows and such. And they kind of gesture for you to get off your horses.
I dismount.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get off the horse.
And so you all climb down. They take you over to the sideways of the building, and there's a halfling there who seems to actually be somewhat in charge of this little group. And she says, all right then, put all your gear in there. It'll be safe in there. And put all your weapons in there, and really get rid of most of your clothes. Keep just what you need to stay warm. Put all your gear in there. There's plenty of room. There's some bunks. You can each have a bunk there. And it's a little longhouse there at the back. Again, it looked small compared to this immense wall, but you realize it probably could accommodate about 50 people once you get closer to it. Just the scale throws everything off. So, and so they open the door into the barracks. Okay. And the barracks look like they're empty. It doesn't look like they use them, and they're a little dusty and such, but there's row after row of these, kind of like back at the Fist of Cord, row after row of these bunk beds with everything kind of rolled up in a tight bound with the mattress and blanket and everything all rolled up in a ball. It just rows of them. It looks like it accommodate hundreds of people in this long row house. And there's a footlocker at the base too with a key sitting on top.
Alright, so we're going to like, excuse me, Miss.
Oh yes, let's see. What was it? Offen Ihnen. Offen Ihnen.
And I'm real sorry now, but one of our horses got hurt on Leon. That one over there. He got hurt
Oh,
on
let
the
me take a
patio.
look. Let me take a look.
Alright, I give
So
Leon
she's a little halfling. Okay. Well, as soon as she approaches, she says some words to him, and he immediately gets down on his forelegs and nuzzles to her, and she pets his nose and strokes
He's
it.
normally real good around people.
Oh, that looks terrible.
Yeah, he got bit.
Looks like some-
This little
Oh,
big
he's
old
one of the
teeth.
cavemen, wasn't it? They recognized the bite.
Got big old buck teeth. Yeah, he just jumped on.
Oh, you're lucky it's not more infected than it already is. Puts the hand on and starts, sounds like praying, basically, in undecipherable language. And you see Leon kind of doze a little bit, and then she pulls her hand away, and the wound is, there's a scar, but the wound is all healed up.
Oh, Thank you. I don't know how to.
You call him Leon, do you?
Yeah.
You know he doesn't like that name.
What?
His original name was Killer.
Killer. Huh. That's a weird name for a horse.
Well, apparently that's what he was raised as.
Okay.
It's up to you, of course.
Wait,
You're
so you
the
can talk to
owner.
him? You can talk to him?
It's more of a feeling. We can
Okay.
feel what he's feeling.
Aw.
But let us go make your bed. He'll be
Does he
taken
want
care
to be
of.
called Killer?
You two can work that out.
Okay. Good. I don't talk
We're
to
going to
her.
go take your horses over to the stables here.
All right.
And a few other druids who aren't in gear. They're just basically in simple robes and such. Go up to your horses and offer to take all your horses.
Oh, thank you. That's real kind.
Anybody resist or want to say anything? Or okay.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
opposite the gate, on the other side, is a long row of stables, and they go take them into
I
the stables
pet
over
them
there.
and be like, I'll be good now to
Okay.
both Leon and Dobson. Yeah, y'all be good. Yeah.
And they look happy and frisky, and like they hadn't just run really hard as the druids and such touch and talk to them and such.
Oh, man. I got a good feeling about this place.
So you're inside. You can see the other gate about 500 feet to the north, and it's a mirror of this gate, and the walls stretching off in both directions, again, about 500 feet apart. And the walls stretch off to the east and to the west. You're guessing, it's hard to say because there's just all these huge trees.
And the earth curves, and then...
Well, but it's about a mile or so in each direction. So about a mile that way and about, you can see that. And then it looks like there's a huge tower. It looks like the walls come together. Again, you're not sure because of the distance if that's an illusion, if it's an immense tower that somehow is 500 feet across, or if somehow maybe the walls come together. It's hard to tell at this distance. But there's an immense tower at the end of each one, going up, well above even these walls. But in between, it's actually hard to see that clearly because there's some immense trees throughout here. Some of the trees, some of them just they're big and sprawling and just look ancient. You're a ranger, so you'd have some knowledge of what these are. And what you notice is there seem to be kind of areas in this area. So where you are right now, like most of the flora and fauna looks like what you've been traveling along with, this kind of semi-alpine northern type. But as you look east, it looks like it gets drier and hotter, and you can see towards where that tower is what looks like almost desert-like plants and such to the far east. As you look west, it looks like it gets wetter and warmer and such, and eventually it looks like you even see some swamp type trees and such far to the west. And as I said, some of these are towering. Let's see, I had a little bit of trivia. So the trees are ranging between 100 to 400 feet high. The really tall ones that are in the 400-foot range are basically like giant sequoias and such like that.
Over 5,000 years old.
Yeah. And you notice, Ranger, you've got enough knowledge of flora and such that, yes, some of these trees that you see are probably thousands of years old. Not hundreds, thousands. Which...
Please don't count the rings.
Which is interesting because about 500 years ago was the Great Calamity, right? There was the Great War between the Underdark and the rest all united together, and there was a huge battle, and it scorched much of the lands. Fire fell from the skies and burned most of the forests, and there was winter for decades after, and it was a huge calamity. And everything changed, like all the climates of different lands changed, everything changed after the calamity. And so generally, most places there are no forests.
How long ago was the calamity?
About 500 years.
Okay.
There are basically no forests or trees for the most part, at least in this part of the multiverse, older than 500 years. There have been little pockets here and there of exceptions. But all the trees you see here are over, that can live that long, are well over that. So again, you're probably the only one who can fully appreciate that. But you guys can all appreciate these huge ancient trees, really well cared for, but in a wild form. They're not overly groomed and cultivated, but they're definitely well cared for. And again, there seems to be these pockets of different climate for each of them. And you see animals running around in the trees and around them, different fauna than you would expect here.
Any dark monkeys?
Not at the moment. Maybe you probably need to go more west for that to see something like that, you would guess. So you can see like jungle and swamp and all of that to the far west. You look like you...
Which is the biggest and oldest looking tree?
So not far from here, slightly to the east, is the tallest is a small grove of sequoias towering around 400 feet tall.
Yeah. What about the oldest looking tree?
The oldest ones are more to the west. You would need to get closer to get more info.
Yeah.
So you got a good mile
yeah.
of terrain there.
Well, she'll at least go to the tallest tree and like pay her respects to like Kami and as like
and there are little streams and everything all throughout here. It's very, other than this road right through, everything else is left like, pretty natural, though slightly. You're actually quite comfortable coming from your East Asian culture, that it's kind of a mixture between wild and cultivated, a nice balance, working with nature rather than against it and such. So, meanwhile, the druids are kind of letting you guys kind of do your own thing as you get kind of settled in. They're watching you and such, but they're not being overly invasive or anything. Moisha? Okay, you're just hanging over. Okay. Nice. All right, Farhad?
Farhad is slowly undressing. Putting his clothes on his horse.
Okay.
And then
on his horse or
like his winter cloak.
On his horse or in the barracks in the chest?
Sure, in the chest.
Okay. Yeah, because they took your horses over to the
right,
stables
but he's
to the
gonna walk
south,
around in just his winter cloak, but
to the
else.
east. Yeah, so your barracks are on the west side of the gate, just inside, and the stables are just on the east side of the gate.
Yes.
So, but there's a 50-foot gap in between. So.
Sure.
Okay. All right, so you're doing your slow undressing thing to change your clothes. I guess he's got his phone call, so Torrent.
So things away in chest. No, we still have my sling on me. And, you know, maybe like a rock in the pocket. But that's about it. And just pretty much go out lollygagging and talking and be like, "Oh, hey, how's your outdoor?
Okay.
What's that?" And
Okay. All right. River.
River is going like she wants to see the trees and see the different flora.
Okay. Yeah, they don't seem to prevent you from walking over. So you're over there doing
the
your prayer.
streams. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's water running everywhere. All kinds of beautiful. Some of them don't make a whole lot of sense. Like there's waterfalls that seem to just sprout up. Like there's no mountain behind them, and yet there's a pile of rocks and water's pouring down. And you don't see any mechanics or pipes, you know, to route the water or pump it. So you don't know if maybe they're controlled springs or
just
what.
have this one faucet tap floating in
A floating faucet.
Moisha notices that he's got his mouth agape and shuts his mouth, goes, undresses down to his small clothes, and then comes back. He's got 10 feet of cord and a sewing kit, and he starts making very small little dolls.
Okay.
For the fairies.
War dolls.
Okay. All right. Cool. Where are you doing this?
If you find someplace to sit.
There are lots of little stones and mossy things that have been arranged that would be comfortable to sit on.
So
again, there's not much in the way of construction. Like along the walls seem to be any constructions and buildings. Everything in between is shaped nature.
Yeah.
But lots of nice, comfortable places.
Yeah.
And
he's not so comfortable to be only in his small clothes, but that seems to be what's expected.
Right. You notice right around the road here, it's the same temperature. But as you went a little bit east, it got noticeably warmer very quickly. Not hot or anything, but just a few
warm.
degrees warmer. Yeah. So clearly, a temperature ideal for the climate for these
Yeah.
sequoias and such.
Mhm.
All right then. So
So you're jabbering with the druids.
yes, do I make any friends? Does anyone want to sit there and tell me?
They are actually very friendly.
Oh boy.
They are very friendly. They mostly just ask you questions and want you to talk about yourself.
Oh, trying to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So anytime you ask them a question, they kind of deflect, though,
Okay.
to ask more about. Well, don't worry about that. We'll talk about that later. Tell us more about such and such, about your town, about your family, about why you're here. Anything to do about you. They're very friendly about it, and you're not overly aware of it. They
Yes,
do it
I'm
nicely.
easily distracted to talk.
Yes,
about it.
exactly.
So I do
So.
occasionally.
And they listen with rapt attention. You have 3 or 4 of them leaning forward, paying close attention to you.
Yeah.
Now you notice here, there's only humans, a mixture of half elves and halflings. That's all you're seeing here as far as humanoids, but quite a mixture of those throughout. And a lot of them are older, like 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old in appearance. Again, with half elves, it gets a little trickier to tell. But definitely more on the. You don't see any children at this point. You generally see people about 40 on up in this area. So, but they're paying rapt attention to you. You've not had this focused an audience ever.
Basking in it.
Yeah. So very friendly, very welcoming, and they offer you drinks if you would like. Water. They have various animal milks. They have various fruits that you've never heard of that they offer you the juice from. And they said later you'll get to feast, but right now it's just time for the drink because they've been fasting and it's just been on liquid until the feast begins.
All right, then pretty much I constantly like, what is this feast? What's happening? Like pretty much about what this.
Yeah, they said
is.
every time you ask about that, they just say you'll see, you'll be our guest, you'll see.
They said we had to have offers. I want to offer something that's like, why'd you offer that? That ain't no good, So.
Yeah, and they're like, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. So anyway, they give you different drinks. You've never had some of these drinks. You're like, wow. Okay, so River, you kind of finished your prayers
Yeah.
and such, and you're feeling very at peace.
Yeah. So there's like different climates. Is there like any saltwater or ocean sort of weird? Because there's like a lot of different.
Swampy going west.
Yeah.
So east gets drier.
Yeah.
West got wetter.
So she's just gonna see if they,
So
everything's
west.
kind of weird. So
Yeah.
might as well look.
Yeah. And you find there's little paths. They're like deer trails winding here and there that you can follow. None of them, no straight lines. Everything kind of zigzags everywhere. And you come across people in various robes, and eventually you get to a little pocket partway where there's a whole cluster of children of different ages, young and old. They seem to be finishing some sort of lessons or something. Somebody's lecturing to them, and they're getting all antsy and looking excitedly because as you get a little farther west, you see laid out in rows on blankets, just piles and baskets of food, of fruits and vegetables and all breads and all these other concoctions, just rows and rows and rows of them laid out under the trees and such, and the kids are hungrily eyeing them as they're waiting for this lecture to finish. And there's about maybe 40 or 50 kids there of various ages, from very young to teenagers, and a few mothers here and there as well. And they see you and just kind of nod and smile as you walk by, and don't seem to think much of some strangers walking through. Yes, Moisha.
Moisha makes about 20 dolls that are about 2 inches high.
Okay.
And then we'll bring them back to the halfling.
Okay.
And say, I made these offerings for the fairies. What should I do with them?
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm sure they'll love them very much. Why don't you take them over to the feast offerings to the west there? You can't miss it. When you get past the children, you'll see all the food and such there. Just past there, you'll see some of the altars, and you can lay it there with the other gifts and offerings there. Don't put them on the altars yet. It's not time to put them on. But anywhere at the base of any of the altars, feel free. The trees, the stones, anywhere around there, you'll see.
Okay. So he does that and then looks for something to eat.
Okay, well, you're heading that way. Okay. Farhad, you finished changing.
Farhad goes over to the stables to search through, what does Kevin have? What do I have in my pack that I could,
Okay. And all of your
That was awesome.
all of your gear is taken off the horses, and the horses are already groomed and bathed, and smell the freshest they've ever smelled. They smell like flowers of some kind, various flowers
Fresh
and such.
horse.
Not strongly, but they don't smell like horse. And their coats just glisten as they've been groomed, and their hooves have been picked clean. The burrs have all been removed. Insect bites and ticks and such have all been removed, and they look just happy as you have ever seen them. And they're all munching on some concoction of fruits and vegetables that are laid out in baskets in front of them.
We're gonna go on foot from now on.
What's
Pardon?
that?
We're gonna be going on foot from now on.
Under horse heaven, yeah. So your stuff's all set aside in the stall next to it with all the stuff. So you're going through that.
The only thing I have that resembles anything of an offering is I've got a sachet of tobacco.
Yeah.
So I would have grabbed that and
Okay.
give it as an offering.
Okay. Great. So now you don't know where to go for that at this point. So you come out of the stables. The stable people had already left by the time you got there. They did what they did very quickly, shockingly quickly, unbelievably quickly. And also the stalls are open. There's no doors on them. They're just separate stalls with no doors and no rope. They're not tied or tethered in any way.
When your horses are that happy, they don't go wandering.
So what do you do?
I'm just going to wander around looking.
All right. And eventually you're going to go east or west?
West.
All right, so you start wandering west. So you go a little bit, and you can hear Torin jabbering away to a small cluster of druids leaning forward, paying rapt attention to what he has to say. And
I'm going to head over there.
okay. So you see Farhad approaching.
Oh, yeah, there he is now. And so then we both ended up becoming followers of Cord. That's pretty much my story up till about a week. 3 days ago.
All right, Farhad, you arrive.
Everything he said is true. Cord is pretty impressive. I've met a lot of believers, but nobody who believed in a god that actually did things. So,
Oh, you're in for a sight yourself these next few nights, then.
I'm excited to see it.
You will
I'm
get to
excited about
see
it.
the gods of nature right before you.
I can think of no better way to spend these precious days.
Pleasure to have you here. What is your name?
Ferhad Gwerion.
Welcome, Farhad. Are you from the lands of sand or the mountains?
Indeed. A desert so vast that it's really big.
You're welcome, Farhad. I'm Chandroy. I'm initiate of the Seventh Circle. I'm the head of the watch here. We keep an eye out to make sure the creatures in the Infernium do not encroach upon the lands they're not supposed to.
Speaking of that,
Oh yeah,
we
those two
encountered
fun
two
folk.
creatures near a campsite, just a day's ride away. These creatures are a patchwork of different creatures put together.
Mongrelmen.
Sure, if that is the name you call them by. They seemed to be welcoming, warm, and kind creatures.
You said they were
One
in
of
the
them-
campground itself? They weren't kept to the
Yeah.
east side of the road?
They're just trying to get into
One
the
of them had
woods.
no problem crossing the road.
Do you see the
The
other
other
druids look
had a
alarmed?
problem.
The other druids look alarmed at each other. Really?
Yeah.
Truly.
See,
And this was just last night, you say?
Yes.
I just say they should just come up here and ask y'all, because y'all are supposed to be tending this magic on the road, right? And I figured, well, there must be something wrong if they can get across from one camp. Like maybe the magic ain't working just right.
They wouldn't be able to come to the southern gate. The wards would keep them from getting that close.
Oh,
It pushes them off as you get closer to the gate, more to the east. They should not have been able to do that. You said one of them could get through?
One of them could get through quite easily with no problems at all.
Oh,
And
that
the other
shouldn't be
one was
happening.
having deep troubles. A lot of pain.
Really? One of them could and one of them couldn't.
Now, the one who could not, she did try to steal something from me. And the one who could was
perhaps-
much more upfront.
Perhaps one was more pure of heart and the other corrupt. Sometimes
And yet-
the magic's imperfect that way.
I think perhaps these two might be of value. It might be worthwhile to let them both cross over if your magic should do so.
Whew, that would go against all of the charters we're supposed to be.
It is certainly
Protected.
not for me to decide. It is
Are they
only
still
for me
back
to
at the
bring to
camp?
your
Are they,
attention.
do you know what they said they were going to do? Are they going to travel south, or do you know?
No, they hope to move into a small cabin that has been abandoned on the west side of the road and to stay there and live in peace.
There's
That's
no cabins
couple.
there. There's an old abandoned fort. We'll have to investigate this, but it's going to be, the festival starts soon. We'll have to wait until after the festival. Hopefully they'll still be there.
Oh,
We
they got
can't
cord.
violate the fall festival.
They got cord in their corner now. They can be converts, and so they.
You converted them to Cord, you say?
Oh, I did.
Yes.
I mean, Farha did.
Now, Cord is a god of good, all right?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
he's got strength and hospitality. and-
Interesting.
yeah.
And nothing untoward happened to the one that couldn't cross over.
I look over at Farha.
She did all of the things that I asked her to do, and she seemed to be stronger for it.
Interesting. Huh. You bring strange news, you definitely do. We'll have to look into that, but the festival will be starting soon, the sun's setting. We have to close the gates and begin the celebrating right on time, so why don't you head on west and don't eat the feast yet. Wait
Okay.
until the others say you can. You'll know when the children can start eating, you can start eating.
All right. Oh, and I'm supposed to have an offering.
It's best if you can bring an offering to the altars. Aye.
All right, and that's got to be when the feast happens, or
There'll be a ceremony that'll be a time to bring forth everything and
I
make the
better go get
offerings.
something then. I'll meet you.
You've
over.
got plenty of time.
All right. I'm so panicked about it, so it's like
Okay.
I'll just meet you over at the feast bar. I'm gonna go find something.
Okay, and the druids disperse, and you hear the gates slam shut, and then you hear from up in both gates the loud but very deep call of some horns that just echo, just. And you hear it echo for a little while, and that happens about a dozen times before they stop. And it is now definitely dusk, and so where are you searching there, Torrin?
Oh, I'm going into my pack.
'Kay.
Back at the barracks.
'Kay.
I'm pulling out. I have a mushroom of Hero's Feast.
There you go.
So I'm like,
There you
I know
go.
this is a fancy one.
That is. It definitely is. All right, you're gonna head over to the
Yeah,
feast
but
area.
I'm pretty much gonna
All right.
not put it in my center pouch because it doesn't exist.
Yep.
And
You're kind of. Oh, it's not there. Oh. Okay. So, River, you're over in the feast area, the altar area, or
Yeah, well, I think she's gonna go and get her rice paper book to like take out a page and like do some calligraphy.
as an offering?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. And Moisha
Moisha had the
has your thing.
dolls.
Yep. So then, after you set those down, what do you do?
I just kind of wander and look,
Watch.
too shy
People
to
are
talk
all
to
starting
anyone.
to arrive. People in various robes and such are showing up, and the guards who are wearing armor, one by one, discarding their armor, showing up in a lot less clothing. They're not naked or anything, but
Right.
they're not bothering to put robes on. They're just discarding their armor and just have their underclothes as they approach. And any of the ones that had boots on, they're getting rid of the boots, and everybody's showing up barefoot. And slowly the gathering is happening. And so you're getting ready for the Druid Festival. It's the October 31st. Huge moon is to be expected. And supposedly the fabric with fairy is supposed to be so thin that you'll get to meet many of the creatures from the land of fairy. The party can go on as long as a week or so. And you guys will be able to, unless you do something untoward, rest, recuperate, get experience points, and level up potentially here in this environment.
Yay!
Don't make anybody
So we're
mad.
going to leave it here right before the festival starts.
I'll bring as an offering the, excuse me, the wineskin that has the last lingering drops of the magical
All right,
stream water.
Squeeze it out, okay.
That's
Farron
cool,
said a
actually.
goose.
Yeah.
Yes. No, nobody gets my goose egg.
Okay, so all of you meet though in the in the gathering area with the rest. Nobody's
Yeah.
wandering off anywhere else.
No.
Farron?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, then we will leave it there. So next session will be a party. Big time
Party
Drew
all night long,
party. Yeah, you'll get.
You're
As long as you don't screw up and have to get kicked out or something,
That would be
you'll be able to get
quite
fully
a-
Roll for
heal.
initiative.
Level up.
Yeah. You'll be able to fully heal, get all the accumulated XP, level up,
Oh my gosh.
all of that.
I'm gonna do XP this session. We're gonna have to wait till next session.
You gotta wait till next session. We'll have to, because it's 9 o'clock already.
All right.
So we'll have to, at some point, interject and take care of all of that.
Oh,
so.
okay. We're gonna do it all on camera and do the whole experience.
Well, because I'm not going to keep you guys after 9 o'clock because you guys all have places to be. So we have
Yeah.
to do it during the stream.
all right.
So, yeah.
Just wait a
The
minute.
anticipation. The only
I
reason
have to
don't
get
do
together with somebody's wife at 5:30 in the morning.
At the gym, yes.
Thank you.
They have to go make their offerings to Cord. All right, Joe, thank you for joining us, and
Thank you,
everybody
Joe.
there.
Good to see you.
Thank you, wherever you may be. Be well, happy gaming, and Namarie.
Dream well.
Oh. Sorry, I was distracted. Just thinking about it. I was like, can you convert? Can you be a worshiper of Cord and still worship nature? I mean, I can't.
Polytheistic.
Can you worship a pantheon?
It's very cold without enough clothes.
Although it's warmer here.
You must have magic
Fine.
animals.
And Joe?
Roll for initiative.
Mongol men worshiping Cord is the origin of CrossFit.
Oh. All right, good night, everybody.
And now you're
Yeah, posting that in the chat room wasn't enough for you.
That must have been totally shared.
Dost thou even